over the course of a 2-decade professional career, Tiger Woods has mastered the art of reinvention. More impressive than Woods' career win total is that he's done it while employing a handful of different swings as a pro. He's also contended with injuries that have required multiple surgeries and months of rehabilitation. But his recent spinal fusion was the most ambitious attempt yet to salvage his career. The fact that he's emerged from it again as a competitive golfer speaks to his most impressive reinvention yet.
I think the genius of Tiger Woods is his ability to use these different golf swings and to make them work after serious back surgery. Most players can't do that.
Someone like Tiger, when he hits a golf ball, he uses the ground. He presses down on the ground and the ground then generates forces upwards. That force then gets transferred to the club through this particular sequence and kinematic pathway. It goes through the big toe, through the ankle, through the lower leg, through the thigh, into the hip. And from the hip and the pelvis, it gets transferred to the spine. Initially the lower spine, the lumbar spine, and then to the thoracic spine. And from there, it gets spread through the ribs, through the collarbone and the shoulder blade, to the arm. And from the arm, it gets spread to the forearm, to the wrist, to the hand, to the club itself, down the shaft, and to the club head, which then imparts that force, started all the way down the ground, to the ball. And that's how you create speed through the ball. And that's important to understand because the injury patterns will follow where the forces flow.
For a player renowned for logging hours in the gym and who has made golf look more athletic than ever, Woods' body has betrayed him over the last decade. He's had multiple knee surgeries, tears in both Achilles, a broken tibia. He's withdrawn from tournaments because of a bum wrist, because of tingling down his right side, and for elbow pain. But it wasn't until Woods' back failed him that his career truly seemed in jeopardy.
These are all patterns consistent with the body trying to cope with the amount of force that that man can generate. The back will compensate for a lot of things. So here I have a jelly donut, right? The disc is very much similar to this. It's got a harder outer covering and a gelatinous, gooey central part. When there's a tear here and the gel starts leaking out on the side, that's called a disc herniation. Typically in golfers, it involves the lumbar spine, which is the lower part, and it touches one of these nerves, which then become very painful and irritated. And this pain can go all the way down your leg. The surgery is done to remove that jelly part that leaked out to take the pressure off the nerve. Unsurprisingly, he then had a second procedure to take the pressure off that nerve. Finally though, the disc had collapsed to a point where the bones were actually very close to each other. So the procedure that he had done, which is called an anterior interbody lumbar fusion, which basically means they went through the front, they took this out and put an artificial disc in there and allowed the space to be recreated to maintain the height and also take the pressure off the nerves, which was causing a lot of his suffering. An average person who had this, they will not be able to hit a golf ball for best part of a year. The fact that he's come back this quickly and able to generate the speed that he is doing right now is a testimony as to how strong he is.
The string of injuries, combined with a golfer's endless pursuit of improvement, has led to a series of dramatic alterations to his swing.
What I've seen in Tiger's swing is a powerful golf swing that's very smooth. It looks free, and sometimes it has not looked that way. It's looked tight. There's some things that really look great to me. One is the wider stance. The ball is placed almost off his left toe, and he's purposely playing the ball more forward so he can hit the ball more on the upswing. That's the most powerful way to hit a golf ball. It's high launch, low spin. Another interesting thing to look at is his spine tilt away from the target. His head is placed 3 or 4 inches behind the golf ball, so he's set up to stay behind it and to smash long drives. So on the backswing, you can see his right arm leave his side, a floating right arm for width. He goes into a flexed left knee that goes right over the top of his left foot, that he kept his height better starting down. He makes a great transition move. He sits into the ground, and then a free arm swing where he went so freely through that the club actually bounced off his neck. So tremendous speed going through the golf swing, and then into a really nice straight balanced finish, which I think is definitely taking pressure off his back.
In 2018, Tiger's swing speed has been measured as high as 129 miles per hour, which is remarkable for anyone, let alone a 42-year-old coming off of multiple back surgeries. Some of that is a byproduct of natural talent and fitness, but also Woods is finally embracing modern technology.
This is a guy who for years was playing steel shafts, small club heads, non-adjustable drivers, wouldn't even consider it. Fast forward to today, Tiger's using a tailor-made M3 driver that has the most adjustability of any club out there, and he's taking advantage of it. By optimizing the swing and optimizing the condition of his driver, that's allowing him to stay up there with the Dustin Johnsons, the Rory McIlroys, the John Rahms of the world. It took him a while to get to it, but he finally learned that you can't fight the equipment, he's got to work with it.
Sometimes with athletes, a level of pain is inevitable, right? But suffering is not something you bestow on anybody. So, do I think he's suffering? Certainly not. He looks much calmer, much happier, much freer. I think Tiger's playing as pain-free as he possibly can.
The early indications from Woods' latest swing changes is he's defied the odds and reinvented himself successfully once again. But there is still a question of whether his body and his game can hold up long term. No golfer is immune to the ravages of time. Although, if anyone is up to the challenge, it might be Tiger Woods.